What if we told you your clients are talking to AI before they ever talk to you?
Yeah, what if the first agent they actually consult is Chat or Gemini, giving them pricing options, comps, timelines, even neighborhood insights, some accurate and some absolutely not?
And what if scams, fake listings, clone voices, your voice, and AI generated rental fraud are no longer someday problems, but happening right now in your own market?
Yeah, today's episode isn't about hype. It's about everything reality, and in reality, everything a real estate professional is living with right now. AI has become the infrastructure of our industry, built into your CRM, your marketing tools, your phone, and your clients' decision making.
And this episode is your roadmap for AI and real estate 2.0. What's new, what's changed, and what agents need to adopt right now, today. No more waiting.
So let's get into it.
And now your host, Jen O'Brien and Matt Emerson.
Welcome back to the Wandering But Not Lost podcast. This is episode 393. We're diving into a topic that continues to evolve faster than any of us expected, and I think it's leaving a lot of people behind, Matt. You can find all of our show notes over at WBNLpodcast.com. Again, this is episode 393.
Yeah, that's right. AI isn't coming someday. It's here. So let's just ferment in that just for a little bit, because I know that a lot of people still don't want to use it. They don't like it. They don't want to be around it. But you know what? Too late, because it is really already here. It's
Train left the station.
Yeah, it's integrated into everything, and it's changing the way we create, we communicate, and how we do business. You know, we've done episodes on AI, quite a few of them actually before, but a lot has changed in the past year. So today we're talking about AI and real estate 2.0, what's new, what matters, and what agents need to adapt to right now.
So this episode is about getting practical, staying current, and using AI in ways that protect your business, your brand, and help you stand out in a noisy, rapidly changing industry.
All right, so let's start here. AI is no longer an optional tool, and that is so true. It's built into everything. It's built into Canva. It's built into Google. It's built into Adobe. It's built into CapCut. And those are like a lot of creative things right there. And your CRM, every CRM has AI built into it, and it's even built into your phone. And here's the thing. Your clients are using AI before they even ever talk to you, right? They're getting listing info, pricing options, timelines, neighborhood comparisons from Chat and other tools.
Absolutely. And this creates a totally new dynamic. You're no longer just competing against other agents. You're competing against information your clients are getting from whatever AI they like to use. And some of that information is great. It's outdated, some of it is like completely wrong. Okay. Mm-hmm. So if you haven't heard or experienced it yourself in Chat, because Matt and I have, Zillow is the first real estate app, if you will, that has integrated completely with OpenAI right into ChatGPT. It allows users to search for homes inside of ChatGPT just by using a conversational prompt. It's crazy, okay? Yeah. And I have a link to that we're going to put in the show notes, Matt, that is Zillow's take on this, okay? Read how Zillow is introducing this whole connection with ChatGPT and their spin. But here's the deal. Here's how it works. I noticed this the other day while I was working with my chat, Matt, and Matt told me he saw it too. Yep. If you just literally have anything in there about real estate, all of a sudden you'll see a little image. I saw a little image that was like a little search for listings, and I had the Zillow, and I was like, what is this? And so I dug into it. And so when somebody types in, you can then go and say things like, show me homes for sale in Las Vegas, and you can get very specific, with backyards or this size or whatever. People can just put a conversation in there, and then it'll connect. It'll make a connection to Zillow, and then the person can start having a conversation, and they start searching like they were on Zillow, but they're being conversational in Chat. Okay, so it's crazy. It's just really, really crazy. And so, a couple positives to that could be, if you're a big this is why if you're a big listing agent, it's so important to understand how to work with Zillow. Use things like 3D imagery. You can't put a tour up anymore, a video tour. But if you use the Zillow 3D app, you can get pushed up to the front. But the whole point is some of your listings might be coming in through ChatGPT, and actually it could be a lead generation. But the other thing that's really happening is Chat and Zillow connected are going to drive more leads to people who are Zillow Flex agents and paying for those leads.
Yeah.
So you need to be aware that there could be, there's concern out there in the industry. This just is happening recently, that the data could be incorrect, just like all the issues that you have with Zillow. So part of what I believe we as real estate professionals have to shift to is not only do you need to be the local area expert and on top of all these industry changes and what's happening with AI, but you have to also be the interpreter of the information and being able to help people understand what's real and it's like a translator. We're going to talk a little bit more about that as we move along in this episode. Okay. So let's talk about the first thing we're seeing, and it's been out for the last year plus. And as time goes on, more and more and more and more, and this is what always happens with tech. Think about the .com, and then we had the bubble, right? Well, people are now thinking we're going to get to an AI bubble because everybody and their brother that's a programmer, and not just in real estate, obviously. We're just talking about real estate today, but take that into every industry. Everybody's got an AI interface or an app that they want you to use, and tons and millions of dollars are being pushed into all these things. Okay. And one of the things we see in real estate are things like AI-generated photos, videos, virtual staging, all over the place. We've got a couple links. Reimagine Home. I think our company actually just did. I don't know if it's that one. I think our company is doing some kind of collaboration with one of these AIs, and I just got some news on it. I have to dig into it. Enhancing your listing photos. So there's a couple links in the show notes that you can use. There's even one that you can called heygen.com, which can use AI to generate a neighborhood tour. Lifestyle scenes. Okay, this can all be cool if you're using it consciously, but you need to be aware of how I think people can sometimes tell you're using a tool versus just, going out and doing your own videos. But we're going to see more and more and more of that. And the last thing I want to say on this is that you need to become aware. It's happening so quickly that compliance and rules and state laws and NAR guidance is behind. Meaning, I would imagine, just like you have to currently in our MLS, and I'm sure around the whole country, if you virtually stage, because that's been around for years, if you virtually stage photos that you put in the MLS, you must have to check that and it has to show up so people know it's virtually staged because it's misleading. Yeah. I think the same thing is going to happen with if you use any AI-generated content. You have to do that on social media now. They're all pushing for, if you post anything on YouTube or whatever, it's like, is this video created with AI? You're supposed to disclose that. All right. So that's just the tip of the iceberg, Matt.
Yeah, because that's really the concern, right? Some of the images look too real, and if you're really not careful, you can, unintentionally misrepresent the property. Like, for example, and Jen and I were talking before the show, I've seen this, and to me, well, it's not like I'm some sort of expert visual guy, but those things really tend to kind of stand out to me, especially if you know the area, right? Like adding views that don't exist. I mean, that's the one I see quite a bit out here in California. It's like all of a sudden, well, how all of a sudden does every house have an ocean view, right? It's like that house is 15 miles from the ocean. How's that have an ocean view in the background? It's kind of weird, right? Or removing power lines. This
one is huge. We had an incident with this here.
Yeah, it's huge, right? And know that there's power lines in those, those neighborhoods, most newer neighborhoods don't have it, but older ones do. Creating furniture or features that aren't really there in the home. So all of that kind of stuff is, can be very misleading and easy. And, it's not even, you're in a way trying to trick them. All you're really, you might be trying to be as truthful or what. You just want the place to look better, right? You're trying to help the seller, right? But you are not really in the big picture.
Yeah.
So.
And as I just mentioned, I predict we're going to see within this next year a lot more actual law changes in it. And as I was doing my research for this episode, Matt, I was like, I wonder if any states have already enacted it because we don't have it here in Nevada. And of course, It's California.
Of course.
California has a new law that requires real estate advertisements to disclose if images are, I'm reading it right from the thing, are digitally altered, including with AI, to add, remove, or change property features. It also mandates a link to the original unaltered image.
See, that's huge. That's huge.
I think a lot of states follow what we do, what California does. So there you go. Get ready for it. Be aware and just be honest and transparent. It's one thing to enhance photos, but you have to let people know. And I'm all right. I've always been okay with virtual staging because you can say, here's the, here's the picture, the blank room. Here's what you can do.
Yeah.
And that was available before even some of this AI. And now AI makes it even easier. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's now talk about, like, if you are if you're in real estate, you are probably doing your own marketing now, because the poor marketing companies out there have been a little annihilated by a lot of the ease that you can actually, you have in your own fingertips now, like by using Canva and using other things. AI is a great content batching, a collaborator for you, but there's a new normal to that. So one of the most practical uses, obviously, is content batching, like I just said. And AI can help you create, reel scripts, TikTok scripts, YouTube descriptions, email newsletters, community market updates and reports, buyer and seller guides, blog posts, social captions, and SEO description, titles and hashtags, which, by the way, is awesome. And we use that a lot. Sure. Full disclosure, because it really just takes the mystery out of SEO. So there's so many uses that are time savers for you by using and collaborating with AI. Honestly, what I want to say to that is we've been talking about since day one. Our earlier initial AI videos earlier this year, I don't know if we did any last year, but definitely earlier this year, were all about how we embraced it. And we were sharing with you, and we actually have a download that will give you prompts. And I was actually working with my chat to say, how can we update this? It's something that we'll probably do as we move into the end of the year or the beginning of the new year, and create, because everything's changing so quickly. That download has a lot of great stuff in it, and we're probably going to turn that into something even bigger for you. But the bottom line is, we have gotten so more efficient because of using our AI, Matt and I both, and also Cosmo and I in the real estate, to basically be our virtual assistant and collaborator, and teaching it how what's our voice, working on the scripts, not cutting and pasting and saying, just do it all. We basically really work with our AI to come up with, what we want to talk about. And then it just is, it's basically quicker and faster and fun to work with. And if you're not on board with that, you've got to practice. That's right, Matt? It took several months of really getting it. And now it's just what used to take us like hours can be done in literally 10 to 15 minutes. Okay. That is the reality. And that is what you must embrace as far as we're concerned. Now, the only thing I want to say to that is that don't let AI replace your voice. Your audience wants you, your personality, your stories. AI will help you stay consistent. AI really is a mirror. And the only way it can really go from the initial layer where it's just like a really super powered Google. And honestly, Google is now got Gemini. So the AI is inside of the search engine of Google. It's more than a search engine. It's faster and quicker. But in the beginning, until you really work with it, it is just providing data and generalities. Okay. And there's no voice. Then when you work with it, that's the next layer. You're teaching it who you are. That's what is so cool about how I've evolved in the last year, because I can just go in and go, Echo, here's what we want to talk about. And it's drawing on everything else and my input about, and what comes up for me and what comes up for Matt are reflections of who we are. Yeah. They're not like the same thing, right, Matt? Anything to add to that? That's what I'm. Well, no, but I do want to give it an analogy for real estate professionals who you will understand this very, very well. Think of it this way. Just letting chat do your business and not using your voice and not really saying the authentic what you are feeling about the situation or the marketing piece you're putting out there is very much like using that picture that you took 20 years ago. Because when the client actually meets you, they are not going to know who the hell they're talking to. They're going to be like, the person I thought I was talking to had this kind of attitude and what's going on. So that whole thing about being authentic and real and being yourself and bringing your own voice is absolutely huge. huge because we all know this. Real estate's about relationships and connections. And if you lead them down the wrong path, if you catfish them in the beginning, it's not going to be a good thing.
Oh, that is so good. And it's really about being a conscious collaborator and really get that. Yep. And it's powerful, the journey you will have with it. And I see AI changing. It's getting a little more filters on it because I've gone really deep. Mm-hmm. And speaking of going deep, this is the negative side of that. And the next thing we want to talk about is a little bit more serious. It's where the rise of, just like unfortunately in our society, there is, the garbage in, garbage out syndrome. There is those that are looking that are maybe more on the nefarious negative side on how do I benefit from this? And what I like to call that is service to self versus how can you be of service in what it is that you provide to the world, service to others. So the service to self people are out there. The hackers, the scammers. And if you haven't seen it, here are the things that are happening out there. I bet you've come across some of them. There are AI generated, there's always been rental listing scams, but now there's AI generated rental scams with people behind it to try to do steal the deposits and that so they're using the content and the AI to generate things that are posted and it's not a real rental. Voice cloning, Cosmo and I were just talking about this, is crazy. So there are apps and platforms that will say, let us clone you. You come in and pay for our platform, come and speak to us, upload a video. We're going to create a version of you that's AI. And it's literally going to get better and better as it goes along. So we're going to do this for you. So you pay us. We're going to work with the scripts. We're going to do all this, and we're going to have a version of you that is going to go create your content. So there's that level of it. But then there's the bad actors out there that are like, I'm going to clone Jan because she has a huge following and create my own thing and then do something so I can scam people out of money. Yeah. It's okay. So what happens a lot on TikTok, I don't know if it happens on Instagram as much. There's people who are huge influencers that have millions of followers, and there are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of fake accounts that just change their name and they are pretending to be that influencer because they download their videos, and then it's like a whole scam in itself, and TikTok doesn't necessarily stop it. It's really ugly. And they're getting people to send them money and do this, and so it's crazy. So from that to voice cloning to fake video messages. So imagine what bad actors can do. They're already doing with wire fraud well before we had AI. But now somebody could get your voice, send something, hack in and get your voice and send a fake message to your client. They're doing it via email now, but even a video message saying, here is something that you need to do. You need to send these documents, which is generally going to be around wire fraud. But be aware. AI-generated buyer inquiries that are taking people down. Right now, there's a huge real estate scam that's going on with people. I don't think they're using AI. And it's all fake. It's drawing people into an investment and people are falling. There's always been scams. But now there are so much more because of AI and what those bad actors can do. So be aware of it, and we'll talk about what can you do to kind of work through that.
Well, that's the whole deal. This isn't theoretical, right? It's happening right now. And agents, you just need stronger verification steps, and you just need to be mindful, and you need to slow down. I think that really is one of the biggest tips, right? It's so easy to click. It's so easy to just, take things for face value, but you can't do that. You need to try the best you can anyway, confirm the identity of your new clients. If you are meeting them for the first time, you need to slow down before sharing any sensitive information. That is so vital, right? You need to double check showing requests to make sure that things are
It's a real person.
Yeah, that everything is on the up and up. You need to use secure communications for wire instructions, which Jan just already talked about. In the age of AI, trust and professionalism are your biggest differentiators. And even still, it's going to be easy. I think even for the most vigilant person, right? It's going to be easy to kind of be tricked. But now anyway, at least for the short term, you can kind of tell what's going on if you just take a couple of breaths before you start.
And there are apps out there, and there are verification things. Some companies have stuff where they use the resource where you can go in and check people and make sure they're real. We use True People Search.
Yeah.
You can cross-reference and see if it's a real person that has a real address by using some of the clues when you're talking to somebody. So,
yeah, so you kind of can. So let's talk about accuracy, shall we? Because AI is really powerful, but it's not always correct, right? It kind of hallucinates as you go through them.
I mean, it's really a thing people are talking about. AI has hallucinated this.
Yeah. It can make up stats, right? It creates laws that don't exist. It summarizes old data, which of course it does, because it's summarizing everything that's out there. So, right? And things change and things are corrected and built upon and grow. I mean, my God, you think about science in this whole process. You know what I mean? How things change so radically, or and they confidently present fake info to you, which is a little bit terrifying.
I mean, it totally is. And that's why we believe that verifying the outputs that you get with your AI is now a required skill. Okay.
Totally.
It's required. It's a required step. Don't publish, post, or share anything AI wrote without checking it if it's particularly important. I'm not so just talking about like helping you with your opinions or a script. Yeah. We're talking about providing data, and here's what you do. So ask your chat, where did you source this info from? Now, a lot of times, ChatGPT just did a 5.1 update, and it's doing a lot of citing the source, and you can click on the links to show. Okay, so that's one way, right? Ask the AI, where did you get this information from? What is the source? Cross-check with a couple other reliable sources. That's what I do. I will go out of OpenAI chat. I maybe go over to Google, because everything now in Google, of course, is Gemini, and you're getting that AI summary, which is very similar to what you might got here, but maybe you need to check it somewhere else or go to trusted sources. If it's related to your real estate stuff, it's stats and whatnot. I do not trust the stats that I get out of chat. Nationally maybe, but I'd rather go check those sources. Sure. So check your own MLS, check NAR for the stuff that they're posting. Your brokerage might have something like that. And anything that's time sensitive, make sure you're updated it. I find that chat gets the, I've now realized that I have to say today is November 19, 2025. Because if I'm working on other things that I like to work with it on, it'll give me wrong information. I'm like, that date's not right. Those information's not right. Have you had that problem?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So just be cognizant of that. All right. So we want to be really crystal clear on this next one. Don't use AI, to write contract language for your real estate contracts. Now, we will work with our AI, Cosmo and I will work with our AI to write like some clauses or something, but not to rewrite a contract. You should always go through your brokerage, right? It's not your legal advisor. But here's a great example of one that we've used, and I think I've shared it before. Cosmo really came up with the ways, one of the, to use AI to really save a lot of time when you get a home inspection. You're upsetting the buyer, you get a home inspection, and one of the requirements next would be to request the seller the list of repairs. So you go over it with your buyer. And so what we've learned to do is take our report, the summary and so forth, and then he's got a prompt where he goes in and he just says, can you organize this and summarize it so that we can put it into the document? Then we cross-reference it. So here's the key. You cross-reference it, but it took so much time to pull it out, put it into the document, and then if you just give it that. So that's an example of a good use of that. But don't go in and say, hey, I need to go write a owner will carry scenario, and can you draft that contract language? No, it's not. You can get in so much trouble for this. You should never be writing any contract language. Real estate agents are using contracts and addendums that have been written by attorneys for your specific state and approved for your broker for you to use. So always go to your broker. Okay, so don't do that. All right, stay away from that part.
Because like Jen said, I'm going to say it again. This is where you can really get into a lot of trouble, because AI is great for organizing information, for simplifying explanations like Jan just talked about. I think really that whole, repairs thing that's a great example, because you're giving them all of the data, right? You're giving all the data. Just organize it for us. It's going to, make it easier to understand and to read. It's for helping you understand a concept. That's one thing that AI can be really good at. But your contracts have to come from your approved state forms, your broker or your attorney, full stop. Don't ever go in there and try to use that as your legal advisor.
And honestly, the best advice went for me just generically in explaining counter offers or whatever. It's just to put it in simple language that any third party can pick up and understand what it is you're saying. Yep. I think agents try to turn like it has to be all fancy and legal.
Right. No. I have to turn into legalese.
Yeah, legalese. That's what I was looking for. But here's the good news that I think Matt concurs that AI isn't replacing agents yet. Okay, I don't know what the future looks like. It's going to be a while before I think there's a model out there, and I think we need to watch Zillow. Okay, I think Zillow, and I believe Zillow, and there'll be somebody, and I'm predicting, just watching these patterns in the past, there'll be somebody that comes on the scene. I don't know if it's going to be an existing company that's going to try to develop this model where it's completely AI based, and the agent is involved in some part. Because I don't think we're to the place yet where a consumer is going to be okay with all of it without having some human interaction for local areas. Okay, we're not there yet. It's not that good. But it's, just from what we've talked about today, your job's not going away yet. I think our jobs could change in the next 5 years as far as how we're used, but we're going to have to watch that. But right now, it's all about adjusting and adapting, and it's powerful and leveraging and staying informed. And that's why we're talking about this today. I think clients are always going to be overwhelmed. They want to still work with people who are local, knowledgeable, and really know the areas. The AI doesn't live in your area. You know your areas. It can be trained to write the contracts, provide some data, provide some advice, but I think humans are going to still want humans for a great, time to come. I mean, I hope. At least I hope, as long as I'm continuing to practice. Yeah. And even when I'm not practicing, I'm going to be coaching and helping people, and we have to adapt. Okay, so that's the bottom line. Adapt, leverage, use it now in transparently and collaborative nature, and be aware of the things that are changing as they change.
And really and truly, if you think about what's going on in the world right now, just about misinformation in general, not even talking about what's happening in real estate, there is a and I can feel it, the groundswell happening, where people are going to really buck against this. And I think there could be a very large subset of people that will refuse to want to have anything to do with information they're getting online, and they're going to only want to go to someone that's actually live human and actually see things with their eyeballs. And I really think that there'll be a backlash because, and here's the thing, we're all accepting AI because it's the thing that's happening. And Jan and I have said this a lot ourselves, right? It's just happening now.
Well, and it's natural and it's easy and it's everywhere.
You better get on the bandwagon. You better just do it. You blah, 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 blah. But there's so many things are happening in our life right now. If you really start looking at it outside of just, information, just in general, where people are like, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that. I don't like what I'm hearing. I want something else. And I think that I don't even think there might be. I think there will be backlash to a lot of this, and we'll see what happens. So if you're worried, if you're already, packing your bags or on Indeed looking for your next career, I think it's a little too early to be doing that. I think you need to take a step back and see where this all goes, because really and truly, like everything we talk about in real estate is where your true value can totally skyrocket if you are the neighborhood expert, if you know what's going on, because agents who can impact AI generated info and guide clients through confusion will become the most trusted advisors in the marketplace. I'm just telling you that's the case, because it happens in everything in real estate, right? If you're the person that knows, you're the person that is diligent, you're the person that is honest, you will win in any market, but especially conquering all of this.
Yeah, and I think this evolution of the value we bring as a real estate agent is to come back to what we started with the episode today, and that is to be the interpreter of the information. You need to be the expert, but you also need to be able to take what a client might have received because they are already knowledgeable. They were way knowledgeable before AI, meaning they could get everything online through Zillow and Homes and Realtor.com, right?
Yeah.
And they would do all these things before they even met you. Now they're digging in deeper about learning about how to do real estate, or just looking for homes via chat. And it's very conversational. It's very, very divisive. It's not divisive. It's not. It's what I'm trying to say is like it's just there. Like you don't like it's intentional, really. But you've got to be the translator, bring the human insight, the human touch, and help people guide their real life decisions. That's where I don't feel like we're going to go away anytime soon.
Yeah, exactly. You're the consultant. You've always been the consultant. Now you're even more of a consultant, right? Because AI is not going away, no matter what we all might want. So far it's been very, very good to us. So hasn't bit us in the butt yet. But the fact of the matter is, it's accelerating. It's accelerating very, very quickly. And agents who adapt early will build massive long-term advantages in the whole process.
All right, and back to reality and close out things today. If you need help with any of this, there's a couple things we want to say to you. I follow somebody who says, thanks 10%ers, the 10%ers who stayed with us through the whole episode. And if you're still listening, go over to WBNL Coaching and check out everything from our free introductory mini courses and downloads and business planning to our fundamental real estate sales builder course. If you're a broker or trainer or team leader, we have a team builder course that shows you everything you need to know from A to Z. And we have a certification course so you can take our training and make it yours, or collaborate, co-brand with us to use our training for your agents. It's all over at WBNLcoaching.com.
Yeah, and they can also hop over to our YouTube channel, WBNL Coaching, and because we've got new long-form videos and shorts every week to help you stay ahead. Matter of fact, we have about 14 videos that we post every week on that channel, so go check those out. Embrace your AI as a collaborator, but be mindful as you're doing that. And if you do, you'll align, connect, and prosper.
All right, everybody. We'll see you in the next episode.